record that one too, good.
So the Corvette kit from SLR, so we've already installed 50% of it, but I wanted to run through the contents of what's included. It's pretty simple. You've got an inner tie rod. This is different than stock. You will not be able to use your stock ones as replacement. You've got a sleeve that correlates, connects your inner tie rod to your outer tie rod. You've got the SLR bolt billet piece. This is 7000 series aluminum. If you're a material science nerd, you'll know what that means and why that's good. Outer tie rod already pre-installed, already pre-torqued. Now the trick with this kit, and I'm not going to break this one apart, but as you can see, everything is slotted, and you've got 5 different Ackerman settings or adjustments you can use to dial in more Ackerman. What's installed in the kit today is pretty much basically the factory setup. So I don't know the number of degrees of Ackerman from the factory, but we want to see what the factory car feels like before we start going any further. Also included are some spacers, so these would be for your steering rack. You can slip these over the steering rack to use that as your stop, but we'll explain what we did a little bit differently and where we clearance so we didn't have to use these, we don't think. And along with that, this has the machine backing, which is their version 2 of the kit. So the first SLR Corvette kit was about 3/8 or so thicker. It didn't give you quite the Ackerman adjustment, so they planed the back of the kit on all the new kits they ship today. So this is the version 2. Other than that, some hardware and things like that, but it's pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and install the second kit on the driver's side now, and then kind of come back and do a review of where we had to clearance, what we had to remove, what we had to zip tie out of the way, and things like that, just to be sure that you don't run the wheel or the kit into components on the suspension. So it's time to get to work. back up. Okay. Sweet. Bolt knuckle kit uses 2 bolts in the factory hub that were not being used, and it uses one of the hub bolts. They just give you a replacement bolt there. Everything else, we had to pull the hub off just to pull the heat shield material that remained. Let's see, yeah, give you inner tie rod, outer tie rod. We'll connect the extender in the middle. The only trick is we just cut the OEM spindle off and made sure there's plenty of clearance on the back side of that. And that was it. Installed, still got to align it, but here's where we need to start clearancing things for at least this chassis. So back here, get some light on that. Now the suspension is in full droop right now, so it won't be like this, you know, when you're driving in theory, unless you're hitting some big holes. But the brake caliper themselves will hit the control arm, and then once that does, then it comes back to this here. So what we had to do last time was clearance just around the fitting to make sure that that is not going to be an issue. Clearance a little bit right here at the actual brake caliper itself. So because these are slider calipers, the more you compress this, in essence, you're compressing your brakes as well. So not a good feeling, I'm sure. It's kind of like having a brake on the leading wheel. So we're going to clearance this out, and then we're going to clearance a little bit here just to be safe. And then the next thing that hits is the actual wheel back here on the control arm. So what we'll do is buffer this up a little bit, but if anything is going to hit, I want it to be the wheel and not the caliper, or especially not the brake fitting itself. So we're going to go ahead and mark that out and do that now. Kit's on, need to do an alignment. Everything's been torqued. It's pretty simple. Again, just make sure you clearance out enough behind here when you cut this tab off, and everything goes pretty smoothly. Yeah, we haven't aligned it yet, but should be it. Yeah, excited.